Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Production channel here at YouTube, and welcome to another Friday review. And today I am here to review Souls of the Innocent, the 8th studio album from Jack Starr's Burning Starr, again, former guitar player for the band Virgin Steel, again a 80s metal band that also at times were featured on the Metal Blade Metal Massacres compilation. Okay, just had to throw that little, factoid shit in there. Alright, so again, this is their 8th studio album, and this was released on July 15th through Global Rock Records. And since I believe the previous album, again from 2017, titled Stand Your Ground, which was the last full-length album here, pretty much to feature Riot V singer Todd Michael Hall, who had been with Jack Starr's Burning Starr since, I think, the Defiance album. Again, Stand Your Ground was released back in 2017, and that was to be released on High Roller Records, and that was basically one of the last, I guess, kind of major kind of label releases, even though I know High Roller Records not a major label, but a very well-renowned record label. But this is the beginning on Global Rock Records, and so without further ado, since I've already reviewed Stand Your Ground on this channel, I don't need to say anything else further. I just now should be focusing on Souls of the Innocent, which I'll get into more information about this album as the review goes on. So let me get into that, folks. Let me get into my overall thoughts on Souls of the Innocent, the 8th studio album from Jack Starr's Burning Starr. Let me get into it, folks. Okay. Before I really get into any of my overall thoughts on Souls of the Innocent, that what I have to do, what this means. I have to do a track listing rundown so I can tell you folks what are the songs are on this album, how many songs are on this album, and what's the time length for this album. And since we have, I guess you can say there's 12 songs here, because of the last song is actually kind of considered a bonus track, even though there really isn't any other record or any other special releases. So I guess this is kind of considered a bonus track, but I think the reason for is, and I'll get into that as I get into further of my review for Souls of the Innocent. But again, we got 12 tracks here, and it all clocks in at the length of 58 minutes and 47 seconds. So these 12, I guess 11 songs, because 12 tracks, again, there is a 57-second instrumental, or, intro, shit, whatever. That's pretty much titled The Ascension. Then, of course, we get into the real song of the matter, that being Demons Behind Me. Then into I Am the Sinner, River of Blood, the title track, Winds of War, Ships in the Night, The Wrath of Attila, Road to Hell, All Out War, Where Eagles Fly, and then finally ending with what is kind of considered the bonus track for the album, that being When Evil Calls. So there you go. There's pretty much your 12 tracks for the album here. But like I've stated already, since we're now going to get into the actual thoughts, I'm actually going to get into some information about the album. Pretty much Stand Your Ground was the final Jack Starr's, Burning Starr album to feature Riot V singer Todd Michael Hall. Because he left in 2019, and pretty much in that same year, Jack Starr decided to recruit or get in most recent singer for the band, Hitten, again, new wave or traditional heavy metal band, again, who is, that being Alex Panza, who has been with Hitten since 2018, especially for their album, let me kind of look it up here real quick so I can remind myself, Twist of Fate. And of course, I know last year, Alex Panza also released an album with Hitten as well, titled Triumph and Tragedy. That would be the second Hitten album with him on vocals. But this right here, Souls of the Innocent, is the first full-length album that Alex Panza is singing for Jack Starr's Burning Starr. Again, just a little bit of a change-up from the very, very well-rounded and just absolute great vocalists and Todd Michael Hall, but Alex Panza, I think, he holds his own on this album. And as far as I remember about Stand Your Ground, I thought it was a pretty good album. And I can't remember, though, what kind of rating, I gave Stand Your Ground back in 2017. Because of my, the way I remember things, I think I gave it a pretty good or decent rating. And again, I gave some pretty good thoughts about that album. I thought it was a really good record. But I don't know if I really could say that it was a very mind-blowing and amazing record, It was just, just a good, solid, heavy metal album. The same can be said here for Souls of the Innocent, but I have to be really honest with you. Upon my first listen of Souls of the Innocent, it opens up with the Ascension, which again, like I stated, is a 57-second instrumental, but it's more of like a very grandiose, very grandeur kind of epic little intro with very almost like battle cry style horns and stuff before we get into, again, a little bit of the Jack Starr's very arpeggio guitar playing and stuff, where he's playing those arpeggio notes. Again, Jack Starr coming from that shrapnel camp of the 1980s as well. It's got that going on there, but when we finally do get into Demons Behind Me, that's where it's like, now the album's starting to get rolling here. We're really getting into one of the first real meat of the matter here. It's a real nice, very heavy, sort of fiery, sort of guitar-driven track, and it's a really good song. And just from this first song alone gave me that, I think this might actually be a little bit better than Stand Your Ground. And sure enough, as the album goes on, especially with like I Am the Sinner, with its almost like rainbow, especially like Dio era rainbow and Dio era kind of Black Sabbath kind of pacing going on with this track, where it's got a little bit of that almost Richie Blackmore meets Tony Iommi style guitar riffing, and just it's especially it's just riffs and so on. It just has that kind of almost blending of a few different styles. Again, it just has a Dio era vibe, no matter what it be, like Rainbow or Black Sabbath. It's got that. And again, it's a really cool track. It really sounds like it could have easily been on like Heaven and Hell, or even was it Long Live Rock and Roll, or even Rainbow Rising, just that kind of period. Sounds like it could be on any of those two records. Has that overall atmosphere, and it's another really good fucking track on the album. But again, as we get into other songs like River of Blood and the title track, it's just keeping everything going. And it's just like, this is a nice sort of really consistent metal record, and the pacing sometimes of being going from being very galloping, very fiery, not so much bordering on being like straight up speed metal, but it plays around with that kind of pacing. Again, Jack Starr came from that kind of camp, again, from, let's say, like, again, since he was in Virgin Steel, but it plays around with the kind of stuff you expect from, again, the other like almost shrapnel bands like Chastain and other ones that really were inspired by the likes of Richie Blackmore. It kind of plays around with that. And again, it continues on to Winds of War, another real great solid fiery rocker as well. Another great track. Ships in the Night is probably one of the more calmer kind of songs. I guess you can say it's a little bit more melodic, a little slower, but it has a really cool atmosphere to it, and just it's got a nice feel to it. So it's a really good track. We do get into, of course, the Wrath of Attila, and this one is another really good track. Again, it's not very fiery. It's a little bit in the same kind of direction that we were kind of getting there with the previous track and like Ships in the Night, but it's a little bit more guitar driven, a little bit heavier, and it's got some nice hooks on the song. I mean, that's one thing I can say about Souls of the Innocent. It's got some good hooks here and there, which I think might be the reason why I don't think Stand Your Ground kind of, in a way, even though I don't want to say anything bad about Stand Your Ground, but it's like why I think it wasn't nearly as memorable to me in a way, even though I thought it was a solid record. It's just that there was a little less hooks on that album. This one's got more of a hook to it. there's more hooks to some of these songs where it's like you can remember most of the riffs and the choruses. Again, it got great sing-along choruses here and there. Again, something that you expect from this style of heavy metal, where it's very melodic, but still very little, not too technical, but it's got that neoclassical flair that you expected from the likes of, that came from that sort of camp of like Rainbow and just those kind of bands, the Richie Blackmore camp. Really plays around with that, and it's a really good track. And then again, we get back to more heavier kind of stuff like Road to Hell and All Out War. And, finally ending with Where Eagles Fly, which is another great fucking track. Again, very galloping too, and just a good track nonetheless. And this actually ends up being the last of the Alex Panza sung songs, because of this is where I'm going to get into the final track, that being When Evil Calls, which is actually considered a bonus track, but I think now I know why it might be considered a bonus track, because of this is actually one of the final songs that Todd Michael Hall actually had recorded with Jack Starr's Burning Starr. It's one of the last ones. It's a longer track too, clocks in at the length pretty much of 7 minutes and 1 second, and even the recording and production definitely is a little bit more different from this one, because it's a little bit more brighter and just a little bit more cleaner almost, but it's still heavy, and it's a really good track too in its own right. For some reason, I get Dokken vibes from this song, and probably because I get almost like kind of just the more heavier moments under Lock and Key, and of course Back for the Attack. That kind of era of Dokken I kind of get from this song, but it's still a heavier number, and it's, again, Todd Michael Hall really pours his heart into this song, and it's just a really good freaking track, and I would say this would be a good idea to close the album, because again, Where Eagles Fly is a really good kind of ending for especially for Alex Panza. It's a really good kind of ending song for him on this record, just to round out the album. But When Evil Calls is probably, in a way, I can see why this was chosen as the absolute final song for the album, even though it might be considered a bonus track, but that's mostly because of it differs from all the rest of the songs, which are all sung by Alex Panza. This one, again, it's the final, I would say also a very fitting end to the tenure that Todd Michael Hall had with Jack Starr's Burning Starr, kind of to end that era of Jack Starr's Burning Starr. And I think it's a really fitting end. It's another really good track. I would say it's even better than any of the ones off Stand Your Ground. It's a really good track. He sings his heart out in this song, and it's just really good from beginning to end. There's nothing bad on with this song, and really perfect way. But pretty much most of the album is freaking great. Again, as far as personal favorites for me, I would definitely rank, or at least say, Demons Behind Me, I Am the Sinner, Winds of War, The Wrath of Attila, and Where Eagles Fly are definitely my absolute favorites of this one. I hate to really put in When Evil Calls, because I think it's a really good track, but at the same time, I'm listening to this album, and I really do think of Alex Panza in general, because of this is his debut with Jack Starr's Burning Starr, and I just want that mindset when going in. But goddamn, I do have to give credit where it's due. When Evil Calls is a really good freaking track, and I think it ends the album perfectly. But I hate to consider it one of my favorite songs off the album, though, and I hate to say that. Or at least hate to say that I don't consider it one of my favorite songs, just because of, in a way, it's almost looked as a bonus track, but it is a really good track. So you know what, I will state that as one of my favorite songs then, just to be really generous. So it's a really good track though, nonetheless, and most of the songs are here is really good. This is a really good solid start for Alex Panza and Jack Starr's Burning Starr, and I hope that Jack Starr continues recording material with Alex Panza, and I also hope that Alex Panza continues on with Hitten as well, because again, another really solid band, and I almost hate that I've not been keeping up with Hitten, because of they're a really good band as well. So there we go. So that's it, folks. There's my overall thoughts on Souls of the Innocent by Jack Starr's Burning Starr, and my rating for the album is a 8.95 out of 10. Again, it's a really solid album. Not, the most mind-blowing stuff, but it's a really good, fun, very solid heavy metal platter that I think I'm already forgetting some words. It should please most fans of this kind of style, and especially fans of Jack Starr's Burning Starr, Hitten, and Riot V, and just that or Chastain, whatever. It should please those kind of fans, especially the diehard fans of Jack Starr. So this definitely should please some of those fans. It should do well. So, and I recommend Souls of the Innocent. I think it's a really good album from beginning to end. So there you go, folks. There's my overall thoughts on Souls of the Innocent by Jack Starr's Burning Starr. Really good album. So with that, I hope all of you enjoyed. This is Heavy Thrasher saying I'm out, and I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.